Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious. You can join us in broadening our minds on the Nameless Debates Discord via the link below and even feature here yourself, if you've got what it takes.
Right. So I'm not sure if you and me use pragmatic theory of truth to refer to the same. For me, pragmatic theory of truth is all epistemologies that use a pragmatic maxim. The pragmatic maxim.
Oh, that's not the
strictly
pragmatic
speaking,
theory of truth. You're talking about
right?
utilitarianism.
So I'm no. Whoa, hell no. Utilitarianism is actually a subset of consequentialism. It's not at all good.
Well, I mean, close, but yeah, okay. No, but the point that I'm making is like you're saying they use a pragmatic axiom. What's the pragmatic axiom?
No, pragmatic maxim.
Okay, so
maxim.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought
Pierce.
you said initially, right? A maxim is what, in your opinion?
A maxim is a maxim.
No, but what? Put it in other words for me, because I happen to know what it means, but I just want to check. Like, what do you think a maxim is?
A maxim is a maxim?
No, you can't just say that, dude.
Well, what do you? I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oof.
Okay.
Yes, a maxim is a maxim.
A maxim is something that is said to, like, it is said to be true in the sense that it should govern conduct. A maxim is how you ought to act.
Yes.
Yes, so any
And?
kind of ought is a moral theory. That's why I said it's utilitarianism.
Right. So apart from a pragmatic maxim being called a pragmatic maxim, do you know what it is? Like
What
the
do you
naming of
think
it's
it
one
is,
thing,
man?
but what do you think it is?
What? Like I call people who call themselves pragmatists subscribing to the pragmatic theory of truth as I delineated it to you.
Oh, okay.
A maxim is just a simplistic statement of truth.
Specifically, it refers to conduct, though.
No. Well, kind of.
Yes.
Kind of 50-50. It's an epistemic concept. So it's if you want.
It generally refers. Well, no, it's okay. So it generally refers to that, but like not necessarily.
Of course. But the point is that, like, if you don't mean conduct, there are better words.
Right. Okay. So anyway, it's a way of clarifying the meaning of difficult concept. That's what it is. It's a conceptual razor.
I mean, if you say so. Anyway, the point is, what is the maxim that you think it is?
A conceptual razor.
No. What is the maxim? You said it's the pragmatic maxim. What's the maxim? Like what? Like. Yeah, elucidate it for me.
The best way to elucidate it is simply to read it out.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll sign his PS. Where are you at? If you're wondering, it does have an ought statement, but it's a epistemic ought. It's not quite the same as a ethical.
So there's. I'm not sure that you're taking ethical in the right sense, right? Moral. An ought is a moral statement, and any ought is a moral statement by definition.
But we have epistemic oughts, right?
No. An epistemic ought is a moral ought with regards to epistemology.
Yes, like one ought to believe this is true.
Yes, that is still a moral statement.
It is, but it's based on the existence of epistemic justification, not necessarily.
But it's irrelevant. The point is that morality concerns the way one should act.
Yes, an epistemic ought concern the way what you should believe.
Well, no, how you should act, but you can say that, like, because you're talking about the way that you should act with regards to belief, right?
Is epistemology a subset of ethics?
No, of course not. But the point that I'm making is that, like, what you're saying is that we ought to treat knowledge a certain way.
Wait, what?
You are saying that we ought to treat knowledge a certain way.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay.
Are you?
So what's the rule?
That's an ethical. That's ethics.
I mean, it's moral. It's not ethics.
It's an ought. Whichever way you want.
Ethics is morality in a group setting. Morality is to do with what you should do. Ethics is to do what you should do in relation to other people.
Okay, sure. There's an ought statement. That's what I'm saying.
What's the ought statement?
Sure. The original formulation, there's a few other forms for Russia. But consider what effects might conceivably have practical bearings you conceive the objects of your conception to have. Then the conception of those effects is the whole of your conception of the object, right?
Yep, that's called the pragmatic theory of truth. That was the pragmatic theory of
That's
truth.
the pragmatic maxim.
No,
pragmatic
no,
theory
no,
of
no.
truth is a
You're,
broader
no,
set
listen to
based
this.
on this.
Right, read me back the second statement, dude.
Then your conception of those effects is the whole of your conception.
There.
Right,
So
that's
the whole of your
semiotics, not
conception of the object, no,
epistemology.
the whole of your conception of the object constitutes everything you think is true about it. Yes or no?
Everything I think is true about is a subset of everything I think about that object, yeah.
No, everything you think about the object is like implicitly everything you think is true about it.
No, I can think there's some things that are false about it.
No, you can like entertain some ideas as you not knowing them. If you think they're false, you don't connect them to the thing. That's what calling them false is.
No, I mean there's a whole range of options, right? There's
No,
some things
but
that
you
are certainly
don't.
true about
So
something,
if
and
you're
then
saying it's false that X is related to Y, it's not true that Y and X are related by falseness. They're not related. That's what the false thing means.
they could be related by them being contradictory stances. I mean,
No, they're not related. That's why they're contradictory. When they relate, they contradict. Therefore, they do not relate.
contradiction's not a relationship.
Yes, it is. A contradiction is a relationship that is inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah, so inconsistent relationships are not sensible. Therefore, we do not use them.
Were you arguing that? What were you arguing?
I'm saying that what you told me just now is an espousal of the pragmatic theory of truth. You said that, like, us considering like all of the ways that it could be useful to be the whole of the object. Now, I am telling you that is, in different words, conflating the ideas of truth and utility. It is doing that.
It's not quite utility. Like I said, it's everything you conceive. Wait.
To be useful.
Yeah, no.
So it's what's your perception of utility? So let me put it this way. You're conflating your perception of truth and your perception of utility.
Right. So consider what effects that might conceivably have practical bearings. Now, for something to have practical bearings isn't the same as it actually having utility.
Incorrect.
It's saying that when you say something could conceivably have
because
this thing,
why?
isn't saying the saying it actually has.
Dude, when you're saying it could conceivably have it, you're trying to capture all possible utility. Yes or no?
Yeah, all possible utility.
Yes. So what we're doing
does have utility.
No. The point is, what we're saying is we're conceiving of everything that could be useful, right? That's what we're conceiving of, correct?
No, has practical bearings. I mean,
that's what useful means. Practical bearing is utility.
You might not be able to use. Well, what do you mean by utility? What is utility to you?
I mean, so anything that has practical bearing is something from which you derive utility, because if it has practical bearing, then you can adjust yourself to the bearing it has and derive from that adjustment utility.
Okay.
So
sure.
what we're focusing on.
We agree that so what I'm saying here is there's two statements, right? This thing could possibly have utility, and this thing has utility.
No, that's not the second statement. That's not the second statement. The first statement is.
If I say that something could possibly have utility.
Dude, listen. You're not saying that.
Listen,
I know what the words are, right? What it says is, think about all of the possible utility. It doesn't say think that there is possible utility, all right? Read it again. It says think about all of the conceivable ways it could have practical bearing. Now, what you're doing when you think of that is you are conceptualizing all possible utility insofar as you're able. That is what you're doing. So the first step is conceive all possible utility. The second step is call all the possible utility that you have just conceived of the entirety of the object. Now, the entirety of the object is the entire truth of it. So if you say then that its entire, like all of the conceivable utility is equivalent to the object in its entirety, you are saying that the truth of the object is exactly equivalent to everything that could be useful about it. That is
Yes.
false.
Perfect.
That's
Everything that could be
false.
useful about it. Why is it false?
Because truth isn't to do with the utility you can derive from it. Truth is to do with correspondence.
Correspondence? How do you even
Yes.
how do you use correspondence? I'm curious.
It's a correspondence theory of truth.
Yeah, no, I know about what it is. How do
Well, how do you
you
use it?
correspond it? No, how do
What do
you
you mean? How do
correspond?
you? I'm confused about the
Okay,
question.
okay. The problem with correspondence is this, right? Say I believe the sky is blue, right?
Uh huh.
I can't jump out of my mind to verify that it is blue. All I ever do is
So?
just be constantly stuck.
So?
Meaning you never actually use correspondence.
No, that's incorrect. Because
Why so?
I use correspondence by applying the pragmatic theory of truth insofar as I am utilizing it for one purpose and one purpose only, which is to attempt to validate my perceptions, right? I'm saying
You
if my
can't
perception
validate
is
your perception.
stop.
So you're
Obviously, I
attempting the
said
impossible.
attempt. I said attempt. I'm saying, but it
Right.
doesn't matter if you can ultimately validate them. The point is, what we're saying is, if this thing is true, it should work. That is what we're saying. That's where your goddamn pragmatic theory of truth comes from. You're saying all the things that have utility are what is true. I'm saying something being true is the cause of the utility. It's not a consequence of it.
Okay. So I want to clear up the pragmatic maxim then. I keep calling it a conceptual razor because what it does, it's not actually really a very good positive statement. It functions way better as a negative statement. So the chain of sequence is really easy. What effects that consider what effects that conceivably might have practical bearings. We conceive the object of our conception to have, then our conception of these effects the whole concerning object. This is best when you realize it tells you what an object isn't, right? If you cannot conceive
Okay.
of
Well,
practical
no,
bearings to an object, right? If you can't conceive of practical bearings to an object, it doesn't have a conception,
no.
right?
See, this is
Because it
actually where
lacks.
you're pontificating about Cam's stumbling block. Cam's problem
Cam.
is this. Yes, Cam's problem is this, mate. He says, I cannot conceive of the utility that what you're saying might have, therefore it's not worth my time. Yeah, that's fucking
Okay, so
wrong.
this
The
doesn't.
thing is,
This
the
is
thing
not
is,
an argument for personal ignorance. I mean,
dude,
that's
it's
you can
what
do
I'm
that, right?
saying is what
But
I'm
it's just
saying is the way that you just like talked about the idea, it promotes that kind of behavior because it doesn't encourage people to continue to look beyond what is quote unquote useful to them.
again, it has to have. No, it doesn't. It's a
No, but
conceptual razor. So
there
the
is
idea.
utility.
So the
There is
idea has to
utility.
have.
Ah,
What?
fuck. There's
If
utility
there's,
that's inconceivable to you.
if there's utility is inconceivable to you, it's inconceivable to you, right?
No,
This is
but
a
you no
personal
it's
failing, not a universal.
inconceivable to you now.
Yeah,
But
sure, personal failing.
the point is that if you continue to apprehend the thing as if it could have utility, even though you cannot conceive of any, maybe you can derive it.
I disagree. I disagree with that
I
approach,
mean,
right?
you'd be wrong though.
So
Like, if it has utility, and if you continue to look at it, it is necessarily the case that you might derive it.
if it has utility, you don't know the answer to that question, right? You're just going to say
That's
if
irrelevant.
it has utility, right?
I'm
So people tell
saying
me,
your conception of it to begin with is probably not necessarily accurate. So
yeah, our conceptions aren't.
it's perfectly reasonable to say it might have utility, and the fact that that seems inconceivable is not a good argument.
Right. So my counter argument is saying that something might have utility, and if like I don't mind, like so someone approaches me and they say this thing has this utility, then I'm happy to adjust. I say, hey, look, it does have practical bearings. I'll consider it. But if someone says to me, I can't tell you a single thing about any utility, but you know what? It might have
Sometimes.
utility.
No, dude,
And I say, like, that's it. That's all you've got. The idea that
You're
it
talking
might have
about being
utility.
convinced. I'm not talking about being convinced. I'm talking
No,
about
I'm
doing the
saying that
discovering.
I'm saying
I'm
that
talking
the
about
mere
doing the
statement.
discovering.
So
No,
insane,
not being.
Listen, hear me out. I'm saying that the mere statement that something might have practical consequence, and yet paired with the statement of no practical consequences, right?
No, it's not though.
Isn't sensible grounds to be like,
It's not
hey, let's
paired
think
with
about
that. How do you make that conclusion?
by all means, if you're saying that it has
You
practical
mean
bearings,
paired with
tell me
no
what they are.
conceivable ones, right?
Yeah, if you're
Dude,
saying that
so-
it has practical conceivable,
you're
what-
referring to the example again. Can't use the example of someone telling someone else the truth. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about discovering something that's true, okay? In the
Yeah.
event that you're trying to discover something that's true, the utility of what's true is not immediately apparent to you. Like, the fact that you can't conceive of it is irrelevant. It may well be the most worthwhile thing you've ever done to continue to look at something for which utility seems inconceivable, because the inconceivable utility for you now could well be the greatest utility you've ever come across once you manage to conceive of it.
Sure, but that's applicable. That's applicable way beyond discovery.
That contradicts the
you
maxim.
don't know you're discovering right now. You're
No,
not
but I just
with
said
any
it
given idea.
contradicts the
So-
maxim.
So why is this not an argument for something like faith in God, right?
Because
God could
it is an
conceivably
argument
have,
for
right?
investigating, dude.
God could have practical
Oh,
benefits,
dude,
utility,
it's
right?
not an
So
argument
therefore
for
do this then.
accepting. It's an argument for continuing to evaluate. Okay, if
So
you take
do you
something.
believe in the continuous evaluation of the
Oh,
God?
fuck. Okay, it's not. You can't bring the God thing into it. I'm saying.
I'm going to, and I'm wondering what your answer
Fuck, you're
is.
not listening. I am not saying that this is evidence that you should believe X. I'm saying that just because you cannot conceive of any utility in X is not a
Yes.
good reason to dismiss it as completely untrue, which is what your maxim dictates.
Yes.
It is what your so that's a bad fucking conclusion. It's wrong, incredibly
But you
false.
need to give me a reason why.
I did
And
give you a
It
reason.
needs to be it needs to
I
not
gave
be
you
a
a reason,
story
dude.
about how they potentially are beliefs.
No,
that
no,
are
no,
true,
no.
because
I gave you a
potentially
reason.
that
The
applies
reason
to
is
every
really
possible
simple.
belief, such that we should all entertain every single damn idea all
I'm
the time.
dead.
Like I
I'm
said, it's
dead,
conceptual
okay?
razor.
Stop. The point is, you, as a subjective individual, do not know what is useful, right? You conceive of what you think is useful, and you could be wrong. So, it's not justifiable to look at something, see that you cannot conceive of its use, and move on without analyzing it further. That isn't a justified conclusion.
Sure. What is the alternative position?
The alternative is, instead of subordinating truth to what is useful, okay, conceptualize truth as that which corresponds to reality, that which corresponds to all of the other things that you hold to be true, and investigate the object for that, not for fucking utility.
Okay. So Instinct, I need you to stop equivocating between what is useful and what could possibly have use. You understand?
No,
there's a
they're the
difference,
same.
yeah?
They're the same.
They're
Stop.
not the
If
same.
something,
What is
if
useful is not the
something,
same as anything that
stop.
could possibly have use.
If something has a possible use, which is inconceivable to you, by definition, it's useful.
What? Yeah, of
If
course.
something, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that situation is not accounted for by your fucking maxim. The fact that there is a counterexample shows your maxim to be insufficient.
It doesn't target an individual. Do you think this is
No,
applied
it's
to
a
an individual?
maxim. It's a general rule. If there are exceptions, it's insufficient.
But there are no exceptions. So, for example,
I just gave you an exception.
You gave an example where someone does, in fact, there is, in fact, one person.
No, but you
does,
can't
in fact,
conceive of it.
of a.
No.
There's
I'm
one person-
not. No,
all I need is one
I
person
didn't
that
say.
conceives of practical bearings to an idea. Therefore, it does.
Nope. I'm saying there are some utilities which nobody conceives of
Okay, so
before they are found. So, for instance,
let's enmesh this in a real life situation. Right?
yeah,
So
I will.
here-
Ready?
okay, there is a theorem which no human being on the planet, right, can give you any practical bearing for this theorem. I think it's reasonable to ignore it. No one
Yeah,
can give you
you-
practical bearing.
Stop.
I don't sit there and say I don't think it's sensible for anyone to sit there and be like, hey, no one's currently given a practical
Okay,
bearing.
let me give you an example.
Maybe it has one.
Let me give you an example, all right? So, a lot of the things that we've actually developed using science have been developed by accident. And what that meant is that we were looking for something else and we
Yes.
managed to derive utility we hadn't conceived of.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
So I'm
doesn't
saying,
deny that
stop,
this
stop, 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 stop,
exists.
stop, 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 stop. I'm saying you can look at that pattern, all right, and you can say, even though I cannot conceive of the utility that I might derive from literally just messing around with the elements, the fact that I could derive some that is inconceivable to me now is enough reason to look into it.
But that's everything.
Exactly. No
So
fucking
you can see
shit.
you entertain every single trash idea that exists.
I entertain. No, listen, okay? I use a better standard than utility. I say if something coheres to reality and all the other things that I hold to be true, then I accept it as a reasonable possibility. And if, on investigation, I conclude that it does not cohere to reality, I regard it to be unlikely. Now that has nothing to do with utility, and it completely sidesteps the counterexample that you're faced with.
Okay, let me give you a new one because one exists for your position, right?
Yeah.
You said
Let's hear it.
that sure, but you reject the pragmatic maxim in saying that it's going to be premature. It's going to cut out ideas that could later on be discovered to have conceivable effects. Now, same goes for yours. You're cutting out ideas that don't currently cohere.
No, I didn't say to do. No, listen more carefully. Listen more carefully. No, you're not even listening.
Then you do entertain everything.
Stop.
Quote.
Stop. Quote me verbatim, man. Okay, I'm gonna ask you from now on. When you talk about what I've said, quote me verbatim because you're not getting me correctly. What I said was something very different to that. I said, if it doesn't cohere to reality, I regard it to be unlikely.
Okay.
I regard it to be unlikely. I don't dismiss it. It's not gone. I'm still thinking about it.
Right. Unlikely.
I just think about it less.
You think about it less.
Yes.
You think about
if you come up to me.
What's less here? Do you? That's
as in every time it's relevant, I'll think about it briefly, go over it, evaluate it again, see if my previous contention holds. If it does, dismiss it and move on.
Okay. When you say less, is that finite or zero? What is that?
It's a finite amount. It's not zero.
Okay. So you consider a near infinite amount of ideas multiplied by a non-zero number.
Come on,
so you're
man.
telling me you're exerting infinite cognitive effort.
Come on, dude.
Right? That's a conclusion. That's the result of your.
It's not a conclusion.
Worldview.
That was a. I like you, but that was a poor attempt.
That's all. No, it's not poor.
Have another crack. That was not a good idea.
Are you considering a near infinite number of ideas with
your math is faulty, dude? Your math is faulty. Because, as I said, because I don't have to consider them all at once. I don't have to consider all of them. I have to consider all the ones that are relevant. Duh.
Well, so then you are ignoring some, and the cutting off criteria is relevance now?
Oh my god. I'm ignoring all the ideas which don't naturally come up as being related to the thing I'm doing. I don't dismiss any of them on the account of them being unuseful, nor do I dismiss them on the account of them being inconsistent with what I currently believe to be true. But what I do is I do not consider ideas which have no relationship with what I'm trying to think about.
Okay, sure. So let me put it this way then. Your objection to a pragmatic maxim is it's premature and it's going to cut out ideas that may later be discovered.
I mean, that's one of my objections. Bearings, right? I'm trying.
Sure, I'm going to focus on this.
That's not my objection.
It's easy because I can relate it.
Yes, exactly. I'm framing the objection in a way that you can find relatable. Correct.
Okay, sure. Now, you just outlined a criterion by which you do not consider ideas if they do not have a relationship to your current enterprise, right?
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Are you not also rejecting ideas, failing to consider?
I'm not rejecting.
Are you
there's a difference though.
Ideas that may later be discovered. No, but you object to it in the first scenario, but you don't object to the second.
What?
You find it justified.
No, right? There's a difference between failing
to ignore ideas.
There's a difference between failing to consider and dismissing. There's a big difference. You dismiss things that don't have utility. I fail to consider things that don't have relevance. There is a huge distinction.
I dismiss not just things that fail to have utility. Like I think.
Yes, but the dismiss is the problem. Dismiss is the problem.
I
dismiss
Yeah, sure.
That's
Instinct. I'm saying the word dismiss for you. Okay. I dismiss all the ideas for which no human being can give me a practical consequence. I can't, they can't, you can't, no one's given me a practical consequence to the idea,
dude.
right? Now, because no practical consequence
Yet,
exists
right?
for that idea,
Yet.
I dismiss it. Yeah,
Yet.
you're right. Yet.
But the
But
point
things-
is your
no one's giving me-
dismissiveness,
no
the
one's
way
giving
that
me reason
think,
to
okay? You're
consider
using the
it.
word dismiss, right? Dismiss means you pay it no further attention. So even if
Yes.
someone did find a reason in the future, you wouldn't really listen.
No, wait, why would I do that? Because at
Because
that
you
point in
dismissed
time,
the
wait,
idea.
hang on. No. What?
You don't
There's
know
not-
because
there's
look,
not- there's not a
if
permanent
listen, it's
decision.
simple as
You're
this.
gonna
It's as
tell me
simple as
how I
this.
use
It's as simple as this. The utility is hard
See.
to explain to you. They try to explain it to you, and your response is simple. You say, I checked, you aren't making sense, and this isn't even got a point to talk about. This is
Okay.
pointless to discuss because there's no utility. And they say there is
That's-
utility, and you say, you're not telling me the utility, and they say, I'm trying, and you say this is pointless.
Okay. Interesting story, but not how to run this. I'm
I
saying to
mean,
you,
you
that at
wouldn't
the
know,
current
though.
point in time, no, great stories. I'm telling you, at the what I do is that this determination is ongoing, right? It isn't
Ah.
permanent. You don't ever
Well,
come.
then
I never come
you're
across
not
an idea.
dismissing them, are you?
It's not permanent. It's not a permanent
No,
judgment
then
of
you're
an
just not
idea.
dismissing.
It is just saying that right now we have nothing to conceive of that object.
Do you know
It's
what
an
the
empty
difference between
idea.
dismiss and disregard is?
But do you think dismissal is permanent? Do you think it must be permanent?
Dismissal
said
refers to the end of an analysis or an engagement.
Yeah, but you don't think we can't reignite that later? So let me
That's
repeat
what we
this
call
for you one more
disregarding
time.
something.
Let
That's
me
what we call
repeat this for you one more
disregarding
time.
something.
Let me repeat this for you one more time. Consider what effects that might conceivably have practical bearings. We conceive the object of our conception to have. That conception of the effects is the whole conception of the object. This can be updated in sync. I update it. That's why I consider myself someone who iterates.
So then
right?
you disregard it,
update
just
them.
to be clear. You disregard ideas that you don't
I
see
don't
utility.
care about whether you choose the word dismiss or disregard.
Well, you should
Right
care
now,
because
it's
they
not-
actually have very different meanings.
Sure, choose the one that you believe to fit better. What I'm
Yeah.
telling you, though, is that this is actually not a final judgment of anything, right?
So then it's a disregard.
It's one that's current and ongoing, right?
You know,
So
it's
an idea
weird.
that today, right, doesn't have. Right now, an idea may have no practical bearings at all. No
Mhm.
human being knows a practical bearing to this idea, but maybe tomorrow they do. And when they do
No.
tomorrow, I shall consider it.
So look, we've returned to the same example that I told you is flawed before, which is someone telling you the fucking idea. You
Yes.
don't look into it anymore yourself. That's the fucking problem.
Why don't I not need to
when,
look
so
into it anymore?
when you disregard it, you stop
Yes.
considering it until you can conceive of utility. But because you're
Yes.
not considering it, you don't try to conceive of utility for it anymore.
Right. And that's
Yeah, so I'm
good.
saying
But
I
the
do.
reason-
When I say that I think that something is improbable, I still consider it every time it's relevant. That is a functional benefit of my analysis of truth over the pragmatic one. You stop thinking about it.
No,
That's
you don't
wrong.
think about it. It doesn't even relate to your current circumstance.
I
Like,
know,
it
but
doesn't have a relationship,
the
so,
thing
I
is
mean-
that's a straw man though, because I'm saying
We
there
both-
are things that relate to your circumstance that you
Yeah.
decide have no utility, and you don't think about them again after you've made that determination, unless someone can show
So-
you their utility. And I'm saying
You
there
think
are
of
things
ideas that have no relevance
dude.
to your
I'm
situation.
saying I think of things that relate to my situation, just like I said about you. It relates to your situation, right? I think of it. I think I can't think of any utility for it, but that's not my evaluative framework. I say, does it cohere with what I know and what I hold to be true? And if it does, I hold it to be likely, and if it doesn't, I hold it to be unlikely. But regardless of whether or not I hold it to be likely or unlikely, every single time it's relevant, I'll consider it again.
Okay, so you are aware that when you say the word relevant, that means it has practical bearing, right?
No,
So I'll consider it too.
I mean, no, that's not what it means. I mean that it is like topically related, right? So if I'm talking about physics, I might think about an idea in astrophysics which I think has no utility. For instance, string theory, I genuinely think that has no utility. I think that is mathematical conjecture, but I think about it all the time because guess what? I could be fucking wrong.
Yeah, sure, we could always be wrong.
But you, on the other hand, would not reconsider it.
Why would I not you keep
Because
saying
you've
that
already said, because you have all dude, I got you to agree to that like 3 individual occasions in a row.
As long as my current it's like this, right? For every given idea of your wish, you can imagine it like this. For every given idea, I have a checkbox. Does this idea have any conceivable practical bearing? Yes or
and
no?
I have 2 checkboxes.
If it has any practical bearing, then I proceed.
No, but you don't understand, dude.
Right?
You don't understand.
But
like
someone comes
that's
along,
the example about string theory.
Instinct. If you come along and you're like, "Hey, this idea is
no,
practical bearing,"
dude, don't fucking say that to me again. I already fucking told you cannot use the someone telling you example. Don't fucking say it again. Because I'm talking about a functional issue that comes about in terms of you trying to understand, not someone coming along and fucking telling you.
Okay, wait.
I don't fucking care. I'm talking about a problem with your analysis. You don't get to decide what the scope is.
Yeah. Maybe that's fine. Okay, maybe this is fine. I should say this. I don't mind that this is flawed. I don't think that there is...
You should mind.
Why?
Because flaws are bad.
Flaws
by
are
definition.
Bad. What is that?
By definition.
Why a flaw? No. You mean an incomplete system. I say flawed.
No. It's not incomplete. It's flawed.
It works.
My system is incomplete as well. Your system is incomplete and flawed.
I would say that your system, in principle, you only limit the reason you don't exert infinite cognitive effort is because you can't. But in principle, it would require you to. Whereas mine wouldn't. At least mine
because I'm not. It's not required that I consider every single concept.
Yeah, you only consider ones that are related.
Yes.
To your current situation, right?
Yes. As do you.
I'm not sure
obviously.
why we disagree right now
because I'm saying
vaguely in the same territory of saying that, like,
yes, we're almost in the same territory. We agree up to the point of where the line is drawn on truth, and I'm saying a pragmatic analysis of truth is insufficient, and the fact that I can conjecture a counterexample that contradicts your method and shows a flaw in it, which cannot be said with the same variables held constant for my analysis, demonstrates the inadequacy of the pragmatic definition of truth.
Yeah. So I think what's happened is that you give me a hypothetical which demonstrates a problem, right? But
that's what a counterexample is.
Yeah, I know.
That's perfectly valid, though.
But only if I can see the hypothetical, right? I don't really have to. It's an interesting
you can try not to.
I mean, no, it's fine. Like, what I'm saying is this: if you conjure up a situation in which I'm wrong, if I accept the conjuration, I'm wrong. Sure, and I agree with that. That's fine. But I will say this: at the point where we all actually exist, right? We don't know ahead of time whether an idea will have practical consequences or not in the future. We don't know those statements about the future, right? We can't operate on those. We can't operate.
That's my point,
with those kind of things, right? So I don't. I operate.
No, but that is my whole fucking point. Instead of not operating on it, I take that into account. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I would say that you take that into account. What does that even mean? So between you and me, right, what will happen is I take into account our current set of information and I operate on it, right? And you're right, it is premature. But I say to you that we can't use future information we don't even have.
No,
right?
But if you like
operate on information we've already got.
If you design your interpretive framework to account for the possibility that there is something that's useful about the world which is inconceivable to you when you apprehend it, then what you can do is you can design your interpretive framework to catch that utility in the long run, which is what my framework does and which yours does imperfectly.
What do you mean by catch? Is that your set,
I mean
the set
that
of ideas you consider is
I'm
wider
checking
than
for
mine,
it
which
still.
which is
No, I'm
interesting.
checking the ideas I think are unlikely all the time. So I can catch more of the true ideas because I'm checking all of the ideas more often.
That's just related to cognitive processing power, right? It's a number of
No,
ideas you
it's
can check.
not
It's going to be
though,
related
because
to
we're
power.
both human beings. We're both limited. I'm not
Yeah,
doing more thinking than you.
Exactly. So you're not necessarily checking more ideas than me.
No,
Right.
but I'm saying that the way that I'm focusing my thinking is more
In theory, you would,
comprehensive.
right? If you both
It's more
possess
comprehensive.
infinite, if you both possess infinite cognitive
No.
power, then I accept.
No.
Wait, hang on.
No,
Let me
no.
finish.
As in like,
Interesting
as in
interjection, but you don't
in
know.
a pragmatic sense. Okay.
Right. Interesting
My
interjection.
framework. Come
Cool.
on, man. It's
You're
more
out.
comprehensive.
Yes. What I'm saying, and it actually just agrees with you, is this: if you both possess infinite cognitive power, right, you will consider a much wider set than I will, because my lines are
No.
being more narrow. However, you and me don't possess infinite amount of power, right?
That's irrelevant, though.
Even at the lines we've drawn, we will never even consider the sets
But
that we've already
completely
set,
irrelevant,
right?
though.
It's
Completely
relevant.
irrelevant.
You
It's
keep
not
saying that you're
relevant.
considering all these ideas that I'm not.
Dude,
I'm
you're
saying
not
that
getting it. You're not getting
there
it.
are more
Even
ideas.
if I only consider 2% more ideas than you, that is better.
Do you?
Better.
Do you actually consider 2%
Look,
more
here's
ideas
what
than
I do. Here's what I do. I think about all the things I think are wrong more often than you think about the things you think are useless. That's a fucking fact.
Yeah, sure. Do you
Yes,
wanna
so
cite that?
therefore, categorically, my analysis is
That's
more comprehensive.
What is that? Argument for what?
What?
That's a corner
That's
piece of your argument. It's a
deductive.
statement that you think of more things
That
than I
was
do.
deductive. You
That's it?
assented
That's
to
your-
my statement. You said yes, right? Did you say yes?
No, did you
Dude,
literally
did
just
you-
argue that you think of more things than
Fuck.
I do? What? You're big brained.
Listen
That's
to
your
my
resting point.
questions, dude, alright? Did you or did you not agree to my statement?
I said, provided we have infinite cognitive
No, that's not
capacity,
what you fucking said.
then
I asked you a question and you said
would,
yes.
in fact, have considered a larger pool than me. But because we're limited, right? Our little philosophical rant that we're having right now, we're setting pools of knowledge so much bigger than what we can ever consider in our lifespan. Right?
I don't feel like you're
you
listening
won't
to me,
by-
man.
You won't, because you're human and limited, you will never
Let me-
consider the full set of ideas you're
God,
outlining.
that's so
You won't even consider
fucking
ones that I'm
irrelevant.
outlining.
Do you
right?
want to non sequitur some more? Listen, okay? What I said was very simple. I said that I consider the things I think are wrong more
Mhm.
often than you consider the things you think are useless. You said yes to that, didn't you?
Completely deny that. So if I said yes,
No, you said no, dude.
Instinct.
I'm recording.
Instinct.
I'm
Get over
recording.
it.
I'm
I disagree.
recording. You said yes.
Sure.
I'll fucking prove it to you. You
no,
said
no.
yes.
By all means, quote the recording. But you understand what I'm
Okay,
saying,
but
right?
you did say yes. No, but you did say yes to
Okay,
that
I
question.
said yes.
So you just
I said
contradicted
yes.
yourself.
Are you okay? Sure, I did. But what
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
okay, I'm telling you I made a mistake. Yep. Sure. If I
Mhm.
had said yes to that question, then I probably should have paid better attention and said
Okay.
otherwise. What I'm telling you now, and it's up to you as a grown adult as to whether you can adjust your argument or not, is that I disagree that you fundamentally are more big brained than me and consider more ideas.
That's not what I said,
right?
dude.
No,
And
you're
I think
saying
it's
you
kind
consider.
of
Wait,
just
your
laughable
statement,
that you
your
would
state,
make that
your
assertion.
statement in sync is that you consider more wrong ideas than I consider impractical ideas. I think
No,
that
then you
statement is
consider
absurd.
useless
How the hell am I
ideas.
supposed to?
No. You've just strawmanned me.
You want
You've
me
just
to like, start
strawmanned me.
tallying up my
You
ideas?
strawmanned me. You're strawmanning me. You're using quantification more.
Yes.
No, not more. Not more quantity. All right.
Oh,
I
okay.
consider the ideas that I think are improbable more often, not more of them. More often.
Okay,
Do you know
more
what the
often?
difference is? What's the difference?
No. Go. Proceed.
The difference is regularity versus quantity. Are we agreed?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so
you
regular.
more
I
often
regularly
consider ideas
yes,
you think are.
I regularly consider the ideas I think are improbable. Okay, I'm saying that that's
Mhm.
true. You irregularly consider ideas you think are useless. Are we agreed on that?
No, we're not.
Okay, but you just
Before we
said
make that
that
statement.
the way that your maxim works is that you take the object to be completely all the things you can conceive of as it being useful about it.
So, are you asking the question of how often do we violate our relative epistemic frameworks? Is that
Do
the
we
question you're
what?
asking? How often do we violate our relative epistemic
Violate
frameworks?
them?
Yeah.
I'm
How
not
often do you
violating
consider
them.
ideas that are wrong in principle by your epistemology?
Oh, see,
And how
that's the
often do I
bit
consider
that's
ideas?
the bit you're not getting, right? I am not saying that they're wrong.
Are there any wrong ideas? Just curious in your epistemology.
Yeah, of
Is there any
course,
idea
but
you can cut out as wrong ahead of time?
no.
No.
But there are wrong ideas. I just don't know what they are. That's the difference, right?
No. Is there any that you can identify as wrong ahead of time?
No, obviously, I said that.
Even a contradiction.
Even a contradiction, I have to analyze it. Like, I would agree that a contradiction is wrong ahead of time, but I have to apprehend it to be a contradiction before I can say that that is the case.
I see.
Like, I could be wrong about it being contradictory.
So,
paradoxes are tricky things.
You're not going to like the resolution to this. Right?
Okay.
I don't think you will, but I'm simply not as absolutist as you are, right? While I have the
Okay,
pragmatic
that's cool.
maxim, while I apply,
Dude, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, sure, but I'm leading somewhere with this. While I apply the pragmatic maxim, right, I'm not fully consistent with it. And I don't mind inconsistency. I don't mind incompleteness, right? All that really
I don't
ever
mind
matters to me is
incompleteness, but
all
you
that
should mind
really ever
inconsistency.
matters to me. I should say, all that ever really matters to me is efficacy, power, potency, right?
Inconsistency is inconsistent with efficacy, just so you know.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I
Well,
can't
yeah.
really entertain that idea because the problem is this. To my view, modern science is inconsistent, is incomplete, and I don't chuck it out there.
Well,
In fact,
it's definitely the latter. How is it the former?
Incomplete or inconsistent? Which one
It's
are you?
incomplete. How is it inconsistent? Like what? Give that a go. Defend that statement. In what sense is modern science inconsistent?
Inconsistent. It's inconsistent every single time two theorems disagree, right?
No,
That's all it
no,
takes.
that's not what makes something inconsistent.
Oh, okay.
Something is inconsistent.
What do you think contradiction makes what do you think contradictions make it?
Oh my god. Do you know what scope is? Something in science is inconsistent only if it doesn't match
when
the
they
evidence.
have the same
No,
scope.
Stop. If something doesn't match the evidence, it's considered inconsistent in science,
Okay,
right? If two scientific theories contradict each other, they're inconsistent with each other. That doesn't make them inconsistent overall.
No, I mean to say that there will be no state of the world that satisfies both theorems, right? And yet we do not know which one is wrong.
That makes them
meaning
incompatible. That's incompatible.
Reality.
You mean you mean incompatible, mate.
Okay, fine, yeah. I'll take the adjustment linguistically. Yeah, sure, inconsistent reality as well. Do you think
so? You're saying that
science
is incompatible?
No. It's inconsistent in the form that you outlined as well. Do you think that all predictions of science 100% match reality?
No, but I would say that it's pretty clear in the history of science that the progression of science is towards consistency with reality. It seems obvious.
Right. But it's also clear that it's never reached that. So
the point is that it's not. The point is that it's not in any performative sense, like prescriptively inconsistent. It's an accident that it's inconsistent. We're trying to make it as consistent as possible, right? Whereas, like science is in the prescriptive sense incomplete because all things are incomplete.
Since its inception, science has never once achieved consistency with reality.
I'm making
Therefore, we should induce, as you all want to parsimonious arguments, we should induce that it never will.
Listen,
right?
That's no.
Why not? Why would you
obviously,
induce the obviously,
because the problem of induction means that such is not a justified conclusion. Obviously, all right. So the distinction I was making.
But it is the stronger. Wait, it is the
no.
stronger.
I don't accept that. It looks stronger to you because
why does it
looks to me.
Okay, let me ask
it's simple. Stop. It's simple because Science progresses. It got better. The fact that it's
Yeah, yeah.
moving forward
Sure.
means it's moving towards
Has it-
something. Why
No,
would
no,
you
Craig.
conclude that? No, stop.
Craig.
If you see progress, is it reasonable to conclude that the progress is not towards some goal?
Okay. Maybe.
No, it's not reasonable to
Has
conclude.
in
not.
hang on. I'm asking you a simple question. Just really basic. Has in all the history of humanity, have you ever reached 100% consistency of reality?
That doesn't mean that it justifies
have
the
we?
inference
Have we?
that we
Have we
never
not?
will.
Have we
No,
not? Have we or have we not?
we have not.
We have not. So you're saying for every experience humanity has collectively had, we have never once seen any intellectual pursuit reach 100% consistency of reality.
That's not a good justification for the
Right?
inference.
No. Yes or true or false?
That's true.
Yes. So should we not induce that?
No, I just said
all
no.
Wait,
Twice.
hang on. This is the entirety of human experience, right? This is what
No.
human experience has always been so
No.
far to this date. Should we not induce that it will continue to be so?
No,
Why?
because the problem of induction suggests that the conclusion isn't justified.
No, it suggests the conclusion isn't.
No, it isn't. Look up the problem
perfectly
of
supported.
induction.
No, it isn't perfectly supported. Hang
Hume
on.
fucked your shit up, dude.
Hey, dude, calm down. Listen to what I'm saying.
Come
It isn't
on,
perfectly
man.
supported. It is, however, a strong induction.
Yeah, but it's not a justified
It's
conclusion.
not
deductively.
justified. It is. It is technically
Oh,
justified.
God.
It's just not well supported.
No,
There's
no,
difference,
you're
right?
saying it's justified. I am saying, in my opinion, it's insufficiently justified.
I don't care about your opinion. I'm asking
That's
you.
okay.
Use a
That's
properly
okay, but
formed
you aren't
induction.
the arbiter of truth, right? And I'm
No,
saying,
neither am I.
you're
right?
saying,
But-
saying, it shouldn't we? You're saying,
Neither you.
shouldn't we? Aren't
No,
you?
I'm
You're saying,
not
shouldn't we? That's
saying-
what you asked me.
No, I'm asking you, is this a properly formed inductive argument? I assume
No,
that you
that's
actually,
not what you fucking asked me, dude. You
Okay,
asked
no,
me, should
sync.
we?
in sync. Let me start then. Is that a properly formed inductive argument?
Obviously.
Right. That's all it needs
But
to
I
be said.
don't accept that it's sufficient in this case.
Why is it sufficient or insufficient?
Because
Don't tell me
there
it's
is
in your
other
opinion.
evidence that indicates that that is not the case. I already said that.
What other evidence? I told you.
Oh
for
my
the
god, how many
entire
times do I have to fucking tell you the
wait,
progression of
have you-
science
have
towards
you
truth?
seen-
Okay, so
progression
ready?
doesn't
You ready? You ready?
deny
You ready?
the-
It's easy. The potency and the predictive accuracy of scientific models suggests that we move towards consistency. Yeah, that's the
What?
evidence. Simple as that. So because we
What?
can see
Move towards
historically,
consistency.
yes,
Oh, you mean
our
we explain more of
models.
the world? Okay, sure.
No. Our
but
models become
I
more
can
consistent with the
read that in.
world.
In sync. You realize all you've done is advance a lesser
Oh,
inductive
fuck,
argument against a stronger one.
dude. Just stop talking for a second. The fact that there is contradictory evidence means the inductive argument isn't sufficiently justified anymore.
So you're incorrect. There is no contradiction to what I said. I told you.
No.
Has any human being ever observed a state of affairs in which intellectual activity, any
I didn't
form of
say it
intellectual
contradicted the
activity, has
premise.
been 100% consistent?
Wait, were you
reality?
listening to what I
What's your
said? Did
answer?
I say it contradicted
No.
the premise? You're
You
talking
just
about
said
a
it
premise.
contradicted the argument. No, you say it contradicts the conclusion. It does not. Right?
It
The
does
conclusion is still
contradict the conclusion.
conclusion.
Okay, wait a minute.
What?
Why would you check with me about the premise? Did I say it contradicted the premise? No, I did not. So don't fucking repeat the
Wait,
premise.
no. So
I
okay.
accepted the premise. Don't
To-
walk me through it again. It's a waste of my
Okay,
time.
fine. In sync. Look, you accepted the premises. You told me it's a correctly formed inductive argument.
Yes,
right?
but there is counter evidence.
Given that the premise is true and the logical form is correct, right? Then we should arrive at the conclusion. Not necessarily
No,
the
that's
conclusion is true, but we
no.
do arrive there.
No, we arrive at the conclusion provided that there is no contradictory evidence. Any contradictory evidence to
Okay.
an inductive argument. Stop.
In sync,
Any.
can you point me
listen,
to
listen,
so remember what the
listen.
premise
Wait.
was the
No.
premise?
Let me speak for a second. All right. Any contradictory evidence to an inductive argument is
Right.
sufficient grounds to doubt the validity of the inductive
sync.
argument, because an inductive argument deals with a general rule, and general rules should not have exceptions.
Right. Okay. Now, this is why I asked you about the premise. What was the premise again?
The premise was that we haven't yet seen evidence of this thing.
Yes. What was the conclusion?
The conclusion was that we should assume that it's not going to happen.
Yes. Now,
That's not justified.
you do realize that observing some progress doesn't even relate to the premise nor to the conclusion. It doesn't
Fuck, yes
actually
it
relate
does.
to either of
Dude.
those things.
Yes it
No, no,
does. Yes it does.
Observing
We're talking about
progression.
gradation.
Wait. Instinct. It's easy. Like really
It's
basic.
gradation,
right?
man.
If I throw a ball in the air, right? And we chop up time, right? We throw a ball in the air. I see it rise, right? I see it rise for the first 10 seconds. I can't induce that because it's rising for the first 10 seconds, it's going to shoot off a straight line forever. It's not. Reason is, right?
You're so
can't
clever. That is such a good argument, dude.
You're extrapolating. This is called extrapolation.
No,
right?
dude.
You say I look. You
just
I
provided
see
a
progress.
completely ridiculous argument, right?
Because
where there's a
what you're saying
change.
is
No, stop.
ridiculous.
There's
It's called
a
extrapolation.
change. You're like excluding a change in the phenomena. Yeah, there's a change. Gravity induces a change in the motion. You exclude the point where the change occurs, and you say, well, the induction obviously doesn't work here.
No,
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
The point, dude. Right over your head. I'm saying that you're saying I've seen this behavior occur for this time span, right? Because I've seen progress, right? I'm going to see more progress.
No. Here's what you're saying.
Argument, right?
No, stop.
But you're trying to deny me saying that we'll actually reach the end point.
No,
which is not guaranteed by your
you're
argument
being
on progress.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm going to use your example, right? You throw a ball into the air, and it goes up for the first 10 seconds, right? And you're saying, have we ever seen the ball hit the end? And I say no. And you say, therefore, shouldn't we assume that the ball never hits the end? No.
You do
fucking
stupid. Do you realize I just said, in my argument in the form, I took the care to say no human being has ever currently observed it, right? Are you telling me that no human being? No, instinct. Let's do this correctly.
Let's just deal with the ball.
No,
let's just deal with the ball.
Use my argument correctly. No human being. Wait, here. Let's do it. Let's do it.
No human being has ever seen the ball hit the end.
Yeah, no human being has ever seen the ball hit the end. Then yeah, sure. Assume that it never does.
No, we shouldn't assume that.
Why not? No human being has ever seen this ball land, right? Therefore, you're going to run in there and be like, hey guys, that's going to land. What?
No, I'm saying, all right, if in other situations, right, we can see balls get progressively closer to the end, the fact that we have never seen a ball hit the end is not good evidence that it never hits the end.
Okay, yeah.
And intuitively, fucking obviously that's the case.
No, it isn't. It
is the case.
You have two rival things, right, that are being said. And what's important, what becomes important here, right, is the time span, right? You're saying from, you observe science, and you say, this can be a bit circular. Oh, no, just talking about something else. Fine. What you're saying is you've observed science for 200 years. I'm saying for all of humanity, right? My induction covers much more evidence, if you wish.
Okay,
I'm generalizing from much larger data set. Far, far bigger, right?
All right, dude. If you think so.
Wait, you think that all of human history is
Look, I am fundamentally disagreeing with your proposition that the inductive claim is justified. I think there's counter evidence. You can dismiss it if you like. I don't give a shit what you think about that. You can dismiss it.
Insync. You can choose to dismiss a inductive argument drawing on a larger data set with an argument drawing on a smaller data set.
Okay,
by all means, you can choose to do that.
If you think that's what's happening.
Right? That's exactly
if you think that's what's happening.
How old do you think science is?
Science, as in what, empiricism? 300 years.
300 years. Now, how old do you think human history is?
Millennia, obviously.
Right. Which number is bigger?
Hey, I have a great example for you. So, humans were trying to build aircraft that were heavier than air but could still fly for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years, right? And your argument is because we can observe humans trying and never reaching the goal, it's a justified inference that we will never reach the goal, even though we got closer over time. And I'm saying historically we did hit the goal. Your inference, your inference retroactively proves itself to be unjustified.
Right.
In that case.
Okay.
It does. In that case, it does.
No, it doesn't. You realize that the White brothers are part of human history, right?
Dude, you're not
external
listening.
to it.
Stop. I'm saying we're conceptualizing your argument before this
Yeah.
has happened. You're saying before we ever invented them, all right? I'm saying like so before we had the Wright brothers, we did have things like we had some like sort of like rudimentary flight craft. They weren't very good. It wasn't sustained flight, but we could achieve gliding and stuff like that, right? So there was a progression towards the thing. We just didn't have the thing, right? I'm saying your argument is equivalent to before the Wright brothers invent their fucking plane, saying that the fact that we've been trying and have never reached the goal is enough to justify the inference that we will never reach the goal, and the fact that the Wright brothers reached the goal and that the fact that they reached the goal like follows logically from the progression towards the goal shows that progression towards the goal is contrary evidence to your inductive claim.
Okay. So you are aware that that's just fine, right? It's a strong inductive
if
argument.
you think
before the Wright brothers actually get airborne, right?
Yeah,
it remains a strong inductive argument. It's
If
just
you
that
say
when
so.
they actually hit airborne, it
Well, here's what I'm
becomes a
saying.
weak. It
Here's
becomes
what I'm saying.
irrelevant.
Here's what I'm saying. If I was there with you and I saw the gliders and shit that people had made, I would say I didn't think the inductive argument was that strong given the evidence. You would say the same thing you're saying now, which is a lot of fucking nonsense. And then when the Wright brothers produced their plane, you would have been fucking wrong. Yeah, you would have. You would have been wrong. And me saying that the contrary evidence indicated that you were wrong, and you telling me that couldn't be the case, you would have been wrong about that as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm
fine.
saying that could be true
Wait,
now,
instinct.
and I'm
What do you
saying
think?
I'm taking this evidence.
Contradicting right now, dude. You and me should be both well aware that inductive arguments can actually turn out to be wrong, right? You are
Obviously.
aware of this, right?
No, but
Then
the
why are you
point
acting
is
surprised.
because you're
Are
not
you actually
listening.
surprised?
Right? You're not. No. You're not listening, right? I'm
Dude,
saying.
Are you actually surprised that an inductive conclusion was wrong?
Dude. Stop trying to mock me, all right? What I'm saying is really simple.
What is this?
What I'm saying is really simple, all right? I'm saying that because in the past that pattern would have been sufficient evidence to doubt the strength of your inductive argument, and the fact that the Wright brothers inventing the plane would have cemented the deal and proven your inductive argument wrong, all right? I'm saying the fact that they proved it to be wrong isn't the only evidence. The pattern leading up to it is also evidence. So I'm taking the pattern leading up to it of science now to be sufficient evidence to contradict your fucking inductive claim.
So the form of you're using what we could say, it's not contradiction.
It is a contradiction.
Okay, Insync, you're literally the first human being I've debated that has acted surprised that an inductive conclusion can actually be wrong. Like,
man, you're scrambling at this point.
Like,
you're scrambling. You are scrambling. I know you know. No, you're trying to do an ad hom. I know that you know that I understand. I understand induction, man. I've demonstrated it to you. You're doing nothing but trying to degrade my character by talking about how I quote unquote acted surprised. Get fucking real.
You are acting surprised. Like right now.
Oh, dude, it's a pathetic tactic. Move on.
Stop.
Move the fuck on.
Now, what I'm saying is this, right? Up until the point the Wright brothers took to the air, it remained a strong inductive argument.
No, wrong, stupid.
It was
wrong
a strong inductive argument.
You can think so.
You're right. It ends up being wrong. It ends up being wrong.
No. It doesn't just end up being wrong. It doesn't just end up being wrong. The closer that people get, the more wrong it looks.
It doesn't make the inductive argument weak. It's so strong.
Yes, it fucking does. That's exactly what makes it weak. How the fuck could you even possibly say that?
Right.
The closer people get, the less convincing it looks. That does make it weak.
Yeah, it looks less convincing, but it's strictly speaking a strong.
That's what a weak argument is defined as.
No, it's not weak.
Wait,
but it convinces people?
Yes, arguments.
Dude, if I want to convince people, I hire a street magician.
Stop. If an argument is not deductively valid, then how good it is entirely based on how convincing people find it.
What?
If an argument is not deductively valid, that is, you're not saying that the conclusion necessarily follows from the true premises, then it's a probabilistic argument, and any fucking claims, any evidence that makes the argument less convincing weakens the argument. Technically, that's what it means.
Okay,
Because
by
it
all
is
means,
less
like,
probable.
So I mean, you could be a person of religious faith, and that's going to weaken every non-deductive argument that exists. That's relevant now?
I'm just going to shoot myself in the head. Your non sequiturs get wilder and wilder.
They're not wilder. You just said, I'm repeating you to yourself, and then you act
No,
surprised.
you're not. You just randomly
You
conjectured
just said
something
it's
about
the- it's
religious
the-
people.
No, hang on.
You're not
because
repeating me.
it
You
relates.
conjectured something.
Yes, I'm conjecturing based on your ideas, right?
You
So
think you
just said-
are.
oh my god, Insink, just wait. You just said that every non-deductive argument that exists, right, is a good or bad argument depending on its ability to convince people, right? This makes
Close.
this makes sophistry the point of study when you're outside of
No, it
deduction.
doesn't.
Hey, the ability
Oh
to
my
convince is not the
God.
same. Wait, ability to convince is not the same at all as saying having a well-formed inductive argument, right? A well-formed
Yeah, see, the
inductive
difference
argument can
here.
be well-formed and not convincing.
See, the thing here is that you don't understand the way truth works. If you did, you would understand that what's
look,
true
I'll tell
is
you the same thing
inherently
Ibn, I told
convincing.
Ibn.
What's
Yes, that's
false
great.
is unconvincing.
I
So,
appreciate that in
the
your
more
worldview.
likely something is to be true correlates heavily with
Yes.
how convincing it is.
I appreciate that in your worldview, such things are just simply the case, right?
That's not
But
what I
we're
said, dude.
We're not debating inside. Oh, I'm not.
That's not what I
I'm
said.
I'm not agreed. I'm not agreed to your worldview, right?
I don't give a shit if you agree
definitely
to my
argue as if
worldview.
then, like, why bother talking to me? Because I am not agreeing with your.
I'm not asking you to agree to it. The point is we're supposed to agree about why we disagree. And at the moment, what it seems like is that you disagree with the fact that I don't agree with you. Because I'm saying that your theory of truth is insufficient, right? And you're saying your theory of
didn't
truth
say
is
it's
not
insufficient.
insufficient. I mean,
Yeah.
that is what you're arguing. You're saying it's not insufficient. And I'm saying you made an argument about an inductive claim that was false. And the claim was that the pattern that exists in science doesn't constitute contrary evidence that weakens
So-
the inductive argument. And I'm saying
Yes.
that the example with the Wright brothers actually demonstrates the weakening of the argument the closer people get to succeeding.
Well, no, it demonstrates the weakening of the argument in people's minds, but it still remains a strong inductive argument until it just.
Okay,
That's just the
if you
nature
say
of it,
so.
right? Right. People's perception.
If you say
is
so.
not the same as whether an
Oh,
inductive
fuck.
argument is strong or weak.
No, the
That's-
thing is, man, like
Right.
how convincing people find an argument is based on the evidence, right? The strength
No,
of
it's
the
not.
inductive.
There's
Stop.
so much more ways to convince
Stop.
someone than by evidence.
Stop. Fuck. The strength of the inductive argument, all right, is itself compromised in the epistemological sense by the existence of evidence that contradicts it, right? If there is a pattern going towards a conclusion that you're saying is false, that pattern weakens your argument. The pattern, not the perception of the pattern itself.
So I'm telling you, it remains a strong inductive argument. That's what I'm
gets
saying.
weaker.
I don't know
it
if
gets
you disagree
all
or
arguments.
doesn't
all
become weaker or
arguments.
stronger. It's simply a strong.
All arguments become weaker with contradictory evidence.
It's not.
That's just
It is
true.
it is at best a parallel inference, if you wish, right? But these two things, these two inferences, right? Strictly speaking, they're both strong inferences, right?
I mean,
though they're
you can say that
contradictory,
if you
they're
like.
both strong inferences. That's all that happened, right?
I don't.
You
If
can't
you say
actually
so.
say whether they're true or false.
I'm saying that
Yeah.
I'm not making a specific inference about it. I'm just saying that your inference is contradicted by a pattern.
I'm saying that an inference is just strong or weak. That's it. This is not.
Yes,
this
and
shouldn't
I'm
be
saying
hard.
any contradictory evidence to your inference makes it weaker.
Okay, so none exist. No, there's no contradictory evidence.
Fuck,
To
I just
say,
told you
there's
about
no-
it.
No,
I just told you about
You're
it.
talking about a pattern, right? So you're inferring about patterns. I'm
Yes,
inferring about whether
The
this a yes or no kind
implication,
of
the
answer.
implication
It's
of the
different.
pattern is contradictory. And that's obvious. Of course it is.
Sure, parallel
Progression-
inferences. They're both strong. It doesn't. You can't evaluate them against each other.
Your claim doesn't weaken the pattern. The pattern weakens your claim.
I disagree. So
Well,
let
you're
me
wrong.
let me try a different tact with you. Maybe it'll just right. Do you think that there are trends? Do you think there exist trends, right? Or do you think you've ever seen a trend which becomes terminates? It doesn't reach the endpoint that people thought it would reach. Do you think there exist
Say that
trends
again,
like this?
sorry.
Do you think there exist trends that don't continue on infinitely?
Of course, there are trends that don't continue on infinitely.
Right. Do you think that's the norm? Do you think that's rare?
Yeah, it's probably the norm.
Right. So do you think when we see a trend, do you think we should infer that it is likely to continue or that it is like the others and will terminate?
Ah, I see. You're making another mistake in your thinking. So,
No, no,
are
no.
you aware? No. Are you aware that termination can occur in two different ways for a trend? Either it can culminate in the maximal expression of the trend, or it
Yes.
can terminate early.
Yes.
Yes. So
I'm aware of that. I'm getting there.
I'm
Come on.
saying
I'm
that
thinking
the
through this.
closer a trend gets to the maximal expression of it, the
Yeah.
more it counters an inductive argument of the contrary nature.
Sure. But
So
you're
there, boom,
weaving
you
in,
just admitted to it. Bang, that's the
you're
end of it.
weaving information in from which we don't have access
No,
to.
I
So while
used what you
while we are looking at a trend that
It's
hasn't
not
reached
about a
finality,
perception.
we're
It's
simply
not
looking
about
at
a
a trend.
perception. The trend is a perception of a pattern. The pattern exists in the real world. Patterns
Yes.
also continue towards either an early termination or a culmination in the maximal expression of the pattern. And I'm saying the closer a pattern gets to maximal expression of its pattern, the more it contradicts any contrary inference. That is true. You just agreed to that.
Right. But you're not
So
getting
there,
the
that
points
is the
before.
end of the
Hang
fucking
on, Instinct,
argument.
it's not. It's the points
It
before
is,
that I'm
dude.
contending you on, and you keep running to the end and then acting surprised, and it's really frustrating.
I'm
Right?
not
telling
acting
you that
surprised,
you
man.
have seen. I'm just saying. You agree that you've seen trends that end. Right?
Irrelevant.
No. The point is this: we can't really look at the trend and tell you where it ends. Right? You don't
Oh,
really know when the hell
fuck.
scientific progress ends. You
I
don't.
don't care.
Are you able to infer the date?
I don't
Do
find
you
that a convincing contention.
agree? Date?
It's not. No, it's not a convincing contention.
I don't care if it's convincing to you or not. I'm asking you, right? You are so well aware of all
Do I agree?
trends of all kinds, patterns of all kinds, right? That
So,
have ended or even been false.
so
The pattern just ends up.
I'm not
We discover at a later
saying.
date that it's false, right?
I'm not saying that we know for sure or even that we should be confident that it will culminate in the maximal expression of the pattern. What I am saying is you are making a contrary inference, and insofar as the pattern is there at all, it weakens your fucking inference, and you agreed to it twice. You cannot contradict
In
yourself.
sync.
It weakens your argument. Did you agree to that?
I've told you a few
It
times,
weakens it.
and you seem to have
Yes?
just selective hearing about this.
Dude, just
I'm
listen.
pretty sure others have
Answer,
heard me say this.
just
They're
answer my
both
question.
strong. They're both strong inductive inferences. Have I said that before? Yes or no?
Yes, but you're completely leaving out the
Have
point.
I said
which
that
is
before? Yes or no? No, just literally.
I'm
completely answer
not
that question.
making an inference. It's not about equivalence. I'm
They're-
not making an inference, man.
they're
I'm
both
not making
strong.
an inference.
That's it. But you're
You're
not
the
inferring
only
that
one making an inference.
you're not inferring that there's going to be
No.
continued progress in the future.
No, I'm saying the fact that you could make that inference weakens your inference. I'm not making the inference.
It doesn't weaken the inference. They're parallel.
Oh, dude, you already admitted to it twice. You literally, I got you to admit to it twice in 20 seconds.
Instinct, do you think we'll be immortal?
No.
Why not?
Because it just doesn't seem likely to me.
Why not? Human lifespans are increasing.
It seems more likely that we'll go extinct before we figure out how to beat
Human
death.
lifespans are distinctly increasing.
Yes,
right?
but this lifespan of a species isn't that long.
As the lifespan increases, we should more and more assume that we
Okay,
are.
let me put it to you this way. We're fucking up our planet. I'd be surprised if we made it another 100 years, let alone another 1,000.
Yeah, but does that have?
So no, that's my reason. That's my reason. I don't think we'll achieve immortality because we'll kill ourselves too soon.
But why would you infer that?
Because that's what seems likely. We're very destructive people.
But we haven't killed ourselves yet. Like, not
We've
really.
come pretty fucking close. We have like
Not
burnt
really.
all of we have burnt all of the knowledge on the planet to the ground and sent ourselves back into a dark age. I don't think that we're the smartest bunch alive.
Not completely. I mean, even if you burnt all the
Yes,
information, it was preserved by the Islamics and then reintroduced.
Anyway,
into
man. Anyway, this is completely off topic. All right,
No,
you're trying
look,
to
so
demonstrate
my
it.
example here is here's a trend, right? Let's take your pattern argument.
Man, no,
Here's a
seriously,
trend.
seriously,
It
I
has
don't
a
want to
trend
talk
line.
about. I don't want to talk about the trend thing anymore. I got you to admit to the fact that it weakens your argument. That's all.
I got you to no, it doesn't weaken the argument. I'm just
You
giving you an
did. You
example.
admitted to it. You admitted to it.
Yeah. What happens is
I'm not letting
sure.
you fucking
I'm
pivot
just,
now, man.
no. In sync. Let me go on record for you. When I
You've
speak,
been on
I
record for the past half
prematurely
hour.
say things. Hey, everyone listening to this recording.
Nah,
let me
dude,
examine
I
for you,
got
right?
you to
When I
agree
speak- no, you
explicitly
don't get-
twice.
In sync. Okay,
Twice.
let me ask you a question again then. Did I say that they are both strong inductive arguments? Yes or
I
no?
don't care. That's
Did I
irrelevant.
say? Did I say that?
doesn't-
No, I don't care if you don't care.
I've
Factually,
already.
did I say that?
Fuck.
Yes or no?
Dude, I actually want to bash
Yes
my
or
head
no?
against the wall. You've asked me
Yes or
that
no? Go
question
do it.
already 5 times. Why are you
Yeah,
asking
because
again?
you keep
Why?
forgetting
No,
it.
why?
It's like,
No,
it
stop
just
being a
slips out of your
fuckwit.
mind when it
Answer
suits
me.
you.
Why are you asking again?
Because you keep forgetting it.
No,
and then
no,
you do
no.
this
I don't
grandstand
keep
thing of
forgetting
like
it.
I
I
got
don't
you to
keep
be
forgetting it.
wrong.
I
In
don't.
fact,
Stop being a
yeah, you
fuckhead.
also
I
got- you
don't
also
keep
got me to
forgetting
admit a
it.
retraction.
Tell me the purpose.
Because I want you to acknowledge that I retracted that.
That's not a retraction. That doesn't contradict the thing you said.
No, it's a retraction.
No,
They're both
saying
strong
that.
inductive arguments.
Fucking shut up. They're both strong inductive arguments, and one of them weakens the other. Those two statements are not in contradiction.
No, it doesn't. They both remain strong arguments. So
it's not in contradiction. So you didn't retract it.
What?
So the fact that you said the strong argument thing is not a retraction of your other comment because they do not contradict one another.
Fine, I'll just restate my position. We'll make it easier, right? Restatement.
I don't know
And
if this
is
will
because of
make it
iterative.
easier.
It might not, right? But here, just let me go. And I'll just say, what happens is the inference I drew up for you is strong, and it's not actually defeated by a trend. The trend exists as a parallel inference.
I didn't say
which
it
is also
defeats
equal,
it.
It's
I said
also
it weakens
equally
it.
no. It's not even weakened. It's actually
I
quite
mean-
strong because it actually draws evidence.
Why
all
do
the
you
way
say it's
through.
actually quite
And-
strong? Do you know that it can be actually
Because,
quite
again,
strong
like I
while
said-
still getting weakened?
Hang on. No. It hasn't weakened
Wait,
at all. In fact,
wait
its
a-
premise, its premise is unchanged,
unaffected.
unaffected.
Oh,
Its premise is unchanged, unaffected. It's
Right.
just still true. You actually admit to it just being the case. It is
Uh-huh.
just right. In fact, it's this inference, that form of inference, is why we have a sense of some things that are impossible for us, right? We have never seen a human being become omnipotent.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Right.
It's always
100%.
dumb. That was the entire fucking point of my Wright brothers analogy. It seemed impossible, but then
Yes.
we did it. And if you had made the inductive claim, you would have been wrong. And
Yes.
the pattern up until we actually succeeded is
Right.
mounting evidence that weakens the inductive
Right.
argument. It is.
So, the thing is, you call it mounting evidence, and yet it kind of isn't, because
I mean,
while
you
you're the right-
agreed to
wait,
it, like in a
Insync.
couple of
Yeah,
different contexts.
Sure, I don't care. So Insync, you have to learn this. Like, you just have to learn this lesson.
You just
right?
keep contradicting yourself, dude.
Insync, when
We're
dealing
going
with
in a
me,
circle.
Insync, I mean, not. You can feel that we are because you're really.
I'm telling you,
attached.
we are. We've been talking about the same thing for 50
up
minutes.
to you. Yeah, we have been, and I really.
I don't want to talk
do
about
this,
it
but
anymore. I got what I wanted
Then
out of
don't.
you on the topic.
Then don't. Like, you've
Yeah, let's
gotten
change the
nothing out of
topic.
me. Sure.
No, I did get something out of
Choose a new
you. I
topic.
can
Just
prove it.
choose a
It's
new
on a
topic.
recording.
All you've proven is an inability to understand what is meant when
Yeah,
I
of
retract a
course,
statement and
dude.
say it.
It's
Literally, you're
me.
still grandstanding on it. Do you
Yeah,
wanna
it's
grandstand
me.
for 20
It's me
minutes?
who doesn't understand.
Continue
Anyway,
grandstanding.
let's
Like,
talk
if
about
that's your
something
deal, then
else.
fine.
Let's talk
I
about
don't
something
mind.
else.
Okay, choose that. Okay, choose that.
The banks were creating certain areas that happened to also be specifically black areas where they wouldn't provide, not black areas, they were areas that they wouldn't provide housing loans to black people to move into if you were
Yeah.
trying to get there. And it was like official policies from banks, and there was nothing in the government actually restricting the banks from having the freedom to do this.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
that's terrible. Yeah, I know. That's a shitty situation. What's your point?
well, that was being used to make it so that black people and minority groups were. when you say that people are confused and can be confused and make other decisions, that would, again, be more evidence to support my side that there is no deterministic system that we're adhering to because we can simply get the wrong answer. Within physics, you can't really get the wrong answer if you were to look at the correct variables and test it.
Oh, wait, that's ridiculous. We've got the wrong answer in physics repeatedly throughout history. And first of all, like,
it's not that we're getting... Here, I'll rephrase. It's not us getting the wrong answer. It's
if truth is there, like, I think sometimes people do end up saying the truth, but they say it in a way that other people don't like. So they end up getting like shunned or put down or whatever. And after a while, you know, of this process happening, the people who are telling the truth, they're not going to want to just have the truth taken from them, because when they gave it to people, people didn't like it. But now